Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 7 of the Skills Lab. We're staying in the world of motivational interviewing this week with a special focus on one of the most nuanced and important skills in MI, evoking change talk. We'll also revisit goal setting, especially the process of translating a client's thoughts and values into smart goals that are both measurable and meaningful. Here's our plan for the day. We'll revisit the foundation of MI and how it connects to evoking. We'll break down the types of change talk, what to listen for, and how to respond. We'll look at strategies to draw out client motivations without pushing them. And we'll wrap up with a return to SMART goals as a way to make progress more concrete. Before we dive in, take a minute to pause and ask yourself what stood out to you from last week's MI practice? Where did you feel confident and where did you feel a little stuck? Remember that MI and all clinical skills take time to develop. So if you found yourself slipping into advice giving, fixing, or asking closed ended questions, that's okay. Most of us do, especially early on. Today's content will help you listen more deeply for change talk and respond in ways that keep the client's momentum building. Evoking is the MI process of drawing out a client's own reasons for change, not inserting our own. It's a more strategic use of your ORS skills. You're not just reflecting, you're intentionally guiding the conversation toward motivation using the client's language, not yours. Think of it like this: you're not planting seeds, you're helping the client find the seeds they already have and giving them space to name what they want to grow. Evoking is directional, but it's still client centered. It's not about convincing, it's about inviting. In the evoking phase, you'll still use open ended questions, affirmations, reflections, and summaries, but now you're using them with a specific intention to amplify change talk and soften sustain talk. That might sound like reflecting back a glimmer of desire that you heard from the client. It sounds like part of you really wants this to be different. It might also be affirming small steps. You've put a lot of thought into this already. Asking follow up questions deepens the client's own reasoning for change. For example, if the client says, I know my drinking is affecting my relationship, you might respond, You mentioned your relationship has been impacted. Tell me more about how that's been showing up lately. That follow up question is designed to evoke elaboration on motivation and values, not to interrogate or direct. You're gently steering, not pushing. These skills are about helping the clients hear themselves more clearly. There are two major categories of change talk. The first is preparatory talk, often remembered with the acronym DARN. D for desire. I want to start going to the gym again. A for ability. I think I can do this. R for reasons. If I cut back on my drinking, I'll have more time with my kids. N for need. I have to get this under control. These statements don't necessarily mean someone is ready to act right now, but they signal a readiness to consider change. Your job is to notice them, reflect them, and then explore further. The second category is mobilizing talk, remembered as CAT. C for commitment, I'm ready to quit. A for activation, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And T for taking steps. I only smoked once this week. These are stronger indicators that the client is preparing for or already engaging in change. When you hear these, you can reflect and reinforce them and help the client clarify their next steps. You don't have to passively wait for change talk. You can use strategies to invite it, including evocative questions. Tell me in your own words why you want this change. Elaboration. What more can you say about that? Examples. What would that look like? Looking forward. If things went well, what might your life look like a year from now? These aren't tricks. They're ways of helping the client explore their own values, goals, and ambivalence with curiosity and clarity. This eliminates undergirded shame that the client might be experiencing so they can approach their issues with genuine curiosity rather than a negative feeling or a self judgmental feeling. Here are a few more MI strategies to keep in your pocket. Looking back, what were things like before this became a struggle? Querying extremes. What's the worst that could happen if nothing changes? The value sort. What do you want most out of life? And siding with the negative. Why wouldn't you want to change right now? The last one might seem counterintuitive, but it sometimes lowers resistance. Clients get to explain their own reasoning, and in doing so, may talk themselves into considering change. This week, you'll be asked to listen closely to role play conversations and identify what kind of change talk you're hearing, darn or cat. You'll also listen to how the social worker responded. Did they reflect, affirm, or maybe miss an opportunity? This is great practice for your practicum, where you're going to be balancing listening, note taking, and making subtle suggestions or guidance in real time. Here's a tip. If you're not sure whether something is change talk, try reflecting it anyway. If it is change talk, the client will likely expand on it. If not, they'll correct you, and either way, you're deepening the conversation. For example, if the client says, I don't know, maybe I should start thinking about drinking less, you might reflect something like, it sounds like part of you is starting to consider a change. If that's true, the client might say, yeah, I've been missing work and that's getting old. But if that's not quite what they meant, they might respond, well, no, not really. I was just saying it because people keep bugging me about it. Either way, you're gaining insight. You're gathering data, either about the client's motivation or their resistance. And that's useful. The goal isn't to get it perfect, it's to keep the conversation going and open and focused on what matters to the client. Now, let's pivot back to goal setting. After evoking the client's reasons and readiness for change, we need to translate that motivation into meaningful goals. A goal should reflect the client's own words and values, not our assumptions about what they should want. You've seen this before, but it's worth repeating. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant or realistic, and time specific. Let's look at some examples from that slide. So, for instance, Susan will do well in school this term. That's much too vague. Instead, we might say, Susan will attend all scheduled classes and complete 90% of her assignments by the end of term. Now, here's the important part. Why 90? Why not 100? Well, because we're not in the business of promoting perfectionism. Setting a 100% expectation for anything is problematic. It can unintentionally set the client up to feel like a failure. It may reinforce unrealistic standards, especially for clients already struggling with anxiety or self doubt or self criticism. Finally, it suggests that full compliance or perfection is the only acceptable outcome, which isn't true in most of life, let alone in the work of healing and personal growth. So, by setting the bar at 90% instead of 100%, we're communicating something powerful. We're saying progress matters, effort matters, and you don't have to be perfect to be successful. It leaves room for life to happen because life happens. And it helps clients build self efficacy without tying their self worth to some impossible standard. Instead of Shelley will start taking her medications. Be more specific. Shelley will take her prescribed medication for 4 weeks, at least 90% of the time, using a reminder app to track her adherence. This makes progress visible and measurable for you and the client. This week, I hope you'll give yourself time to practice listening differently. Motivational interviewing isn't about perfect phrasing, it's about attunement. When we slow down and really listen, we help clients hear themselves more clearly. And that's often the sweet spot. That's where change begins. As always, explore the content in the module, bring your reflections to your journal, and reach out in the forum or by email if questions come up. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you again next time.